Saturday, mid-June, and a field filling up with Volkswagens. Why? Well, to those in the know, this is Bug Jam. And what is Bug Jam? By the end of this video you'll know. But for now, let's say it's the biggest Volkswagen event in the country. So why hold it at Santa Pod Raceways, you ask? It's not as if they race Volkswagens, do they? Yep, they do race Volkswagens, blasting down the quarter-of-a-mile strip. Some seriously, and some just for the fun of it. But not all come to go, as they say. Some just come to show. Elbow grease being the name of the game. But whatever your thing is, all come to have fun. And what better car to have fun in than a humble people's car, a Volkswagen. Hang on, was that a Skoda? Welcome to Bug Jam 88. 1987 saw the very first Bug Jam at Santa Pod, but such was the success of this one-day event that this year's was staged over the whole weekend, helped along the way by Custom Car, who for a long time now have been one of the leading magazines covering the street rod and custom scene. In fact, the interest in Volkswagens has been so great, this year saw Custom Car giving away a beautiful Cowlook Beetle as a prize in the competition. They have also produced a totally new magazine, specifically for Volkswagen enthusiasts, Volksworld. Keith Soom, editor of Volksworld and Custom Car, explains.
Okay, well, for years now we've been covering the VW scene in Custom Car, but over the last sort of couple of years, the VW scene has grown so big that there's just simply too many cars, too many events going on. It's just covering Custom Car without pushing out all the American cars and street rods, etc. So what we decided about 6 months ago to launch Volksworld as a purely air-cooled VW magazine, because that way is the only way you could do true justice to the scene as it stands at the moment.
The technical inquiries you deal with within the magazine, are they from first-hand experience with your involvement in the racing scene?
Yeah, I mean, 90% of the calls we get are covering very basic problems about, such as, how do I change the wings, where do I get this from, where do I get that from, which is great because it actually shows that so many people involved with the scene now are total newcomers to it. I mean, the scene is just growing and growing and growing, at a rate that we never envisaged would ever happen. But the way things are going, we can't ever see it sort of peaking, not for, perhaps 4 or 5 years. I mean, although in the States it started to level off to a degree, that's because the VW scene has been big for 15 years. Over here it's been big for 2. So, I mean, we've got a long way to go yet.
Are you surprised at the quality some of the cars are reaching now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I think the big thing about VWs is obviously much easier to build a show-winning car. You can start out with a £150 or £200 stocker with sort of bad wings and rotten sills, knackered engine and that, but there's no problem getting all the components. And really, except when you get into the really high-class racing components, the majority of parts are, very affordable. I mean, a new set of wings at £100, they can be bolted on in an afternoon. Everybody knows somebody that can do a respray for them. Interiors are readily available. All the engine dress-up parts are available. There's no shortage of parts. There's no shortage of companies sending the goods. And I'm saying they're ideal first car people to get started on.
And what about your involvement with Volkswagens and the car you race?
Okay, I first got involved with VWs, and particularly the racing side, about 15 years ago, building rallycross cars, and that we ran them successfully for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved across to drag racing, and just finished building 72 VW Fastback with a nitrous-injected 2-litre motor, which is acting as really the project vehicle for Volksworld magazine, to show the readers that we actually, understand all the problems that they go through themselves.
Personal question, why Volkswagens for you?
That's an interesting one. The story is actually an odd one. My brother was at university, had a friend there who ran a farm, and as his farm vehicle he had a VW, and he used it for charging across the ploughed fields. I got so impressed with these vehicles that could stand up to this kind of thing. We went and bought one. We used to go green laning in it before green laning was invented over here. And went along to some of the production car trial events, just ended up being so impressed with it, then moved across gradually to the competition side, natural progression.
Is there another project in mind, or are you going to build on this car?
Well, I would probably sort of do some more mods to this for the rest of the season, but next year sort of got some great plans. I won't go into too much detail, but looking at possibly building a tube-framed car with a sort of turbo motor and that for drag racing. But you're starting to look about big money there. You're talking about sort of perhaps £10,000 for an engine, so we're looking at major sponsorship.
So, big plans for custom car next year. But a racing car is not everybody's desire. So, what kind of cars are popular right now? There's Bajas, short-fendered, aggressive-looking Beetles designed for off-road racing. The name Baja originates from the Baja Desert in Mexico, where these tough cars were first raced. Engines exposed, huge rubber, they are high-profile vehicles. Kit cars and radical customs are another alternative, ranging from styles that let you know it's still a Beetle underneath, this Windjammer being a fine example, to images of an era long gone. But by far the most popular, Cowlook. Lowered, dechromed, clean. Everything about the Cowlook is subtle. Colours covering the whole spectrum. Pastels being a favourite. So what is Cowlook? Californian, no doubt. The man to ask is Richie King, who is credited with being responsible for establishing lookers in this country.
Well, this is basically Cowlook. It started life as a 1970 Common Gear coupe with a hardtop actually fixed in place. So I was trying to sell the car and couldn't, as it was. It didn't look very nice at the time. So we decided to modify it just a little bit. Basically, we removed a lot of the trim. We removed all the side trims along the side. Removed the bonnet badge here, nose badge, and the body line down there. Removed the air intake grills on the front, and we did quite a radical mod that I'd seen once before in the States. We put these slant bug lights in instead of the vertical ones it had. Front bumper is sort of standard Cowlook thing. It's basically 3 sections originally, so we welded them all up and painted it to match the body to make it look a bit cleaner and more modern. The suspension's been lowered back and front. It's got different seats in the interior. It's got different engine and gearbox. The wheels are made by a firm called Centra, and they've got low-profile tyres, which is not very popular at the moment on Cowlook. People are mainly using the skinnier tyres. Well, up the rear end of this, there's not much that is standard really. The engine lid used to have a number plate light, came around here, so we junked that and put the number plate down towards the rear bumper, which is partly rear bumper, the centre bit, and then the front, the ends of it have got front bumper sections welded on. They were spaced out from the body, and a new custom balance made up. Then on the rear lights, we used Ferrari 250 Roadster lights, but they are, but they're not. We took them off a Volkswagen Type 3, but that's what Ferrari did as well. And coming up to the engine here, this doesn't look quite standard here. It's basically a Volkswagen engine, but 90% of the parts are aftermarket parts and weren't ever supplied on a Volkswagen. It's got an early fan shroud here. It's got the Weber carburetors, and it's been bored out to 1835cc, balanced, counterweighted crankshaft, different camshaft, modified cylinder heads, and basically it goes about 3 times as fast as any Common Gear ever did.
Parts on the car are obviously specialised, but are they readily available to the average Volkswagen owner?
Well, nowadays more than ever, parts of Volkswagens are readily available throughout the country. There are a number of specialist firms. Building this car, I had an advantage because I took most of the parts off the shelves of the shop we run in Southend, German car company, but you know, anyone can do the same. They have to pay for them, that's the only difference.
Would you recommend Volkswagens as a good starting point for first-time customisers?
They are a good cheap form of customising, you know, to get involved in cars and to have something that's a reliable form of transport. The Volkswagen is a good basis, yes, I do.
So, that's Cowlook, the business, I think you'll agree. Let's leave Richie in his superb gear and find out what else is going on. By now, you should be in no doubt as to the popularity of V-dubs. Take a look at this group. At first glance, just another nice selection of cars. But look a little closer, and I think you'll find a rather continental feel about them. The number plates give the game away. They're French and Belgian cars, over especially for this weekend. Now that's pulling power. Say hello, folks. Now, if you haven't got the time or energy to build yourself a fine car, why not buy one? How about this rather tasty little number? I'll let the lady explain.
How long did it take you to get the car together?
9 months.
Was that hard graft or just sort of casually?
We worked for ourselves, so it was a case of where we had the time, we did it.
What are you selling it for?
Because we want a bigger car. With, like I say, working for ourselves, we need an estate car. We can't afford to have 2 cars, so we've got to sell it.
So you're going to miss it?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially after coming down here this weekend.
Yeah, have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, it's great.
What do you think the attraction of Volkswagens is?
The different, the style. I mean, cars today are just so shapeless. I think the Beetles are great. They've got great character.
So you love them?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right.
Dad had one.
Oh, right, so
So I've had one for my kids.
you're a Beetle family?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much.
Right.
Enter the salesman.
This is Timothy Donald, phone number 0928 714 600. I've done a lot of hard work on this Beetle, but unfortunately they don't make a hatchback model. Therefore I am selling it. Bring me on the following number if you're interested.
Of course, it's not hard to get people to talk about their pride and joy. This Willis lookalike is another for sale item.
What did the car start life as?
62 Beetle.
Yeah, what kind of power did it have and what has it got now?
It did have 1100, 30 horsepower, and now it's got an 1835 twin carbs. It's had a few machining parts, you know.
Right, how long did it take you to build?
Spread over about 2 years, evenings, weekends, just mucking about with it.
So it's entirely a home-built job?
Yeah.
Did you find it very difficult?
Not really, no.
Are you a mechanic by trade?
Electrician.
Why did you pick the Willis style?
I like the style. It was a local firm near where I live, so...
Right. Do you intend to keep the car? Or are you going to move on to another project?
I'm going to move on to another one.
Any idea what you'd like to do?
Something a bit quicker.
That's it.
A very popular kit for the Beetle is the Willis. Now, there's another strange and some might think worrying phenomenon linked to V-dubs. Schultz. Some are so loud they almost drown out the cars. These guys actually seem proud of them. Of course, you have to pay the price for such bad taste, eventually. I'm sure he's superglued to that board. A far more pleasing event is that of Miss Bugjam.
My name's Melanie Milnes and I come from Boston, Lincolnshire.
How long have you been involved with the bugs thing?
About 2 years now.
Right, how did it first start?
For a friend, they were really into it and it sounded interesting, like they had loads of fun, so I decided to come along and try it.
Right, and how do you feel about being elected bug queen?
Flattered.
Oh well, back to the cars. As I said earlier, building a kit car using a VW as a base has become very popular. One of the major companies dealing in this area is Wizard of Rods. What did the car start life as?
It's a 1976 1200 Beetle, which is one of the last of the ones which were made in Germany. And we were lucky to get this one. Actually, it's only done 35,000 miles. It's been rolled, so we picked it up quite cheaply.
Okay,
But
carry on.
you can build the kit on any flat windscreen Beetle, which includes the 1302, but not the 1303 curved screen one.
How many hours work does it take to produce a roadster?
Well, I'll start with the best condition. If it's done professionally by the guy who built this one, it would be in the region of 1 week normal working hours. So in fact, he could turn around in say 8 days. We built one for Practical Classics magazine, And he started on the Monday, and the guy drove the car out of his workshop the following Tuesday. What slows up our customers is if the Beetle needs restoration, and they find they spend a lot more time restoring the Beetle than actually building the kit. We say typically about 60 man-hours to build one.
Is it possible for an average mechanic to produce a car like this?
Yeah, a bit less of a mechanic and more of a body man. If you can mend dents in cars and do body filler work and that sort of thing, is more important than be able to wield a spanner and rebuild engines.
The Wizard's Roadster, a cherry-looking vehicle. Bodies aren't the only thing that get changed. Engines move about a bit too. What motor did these guys choose?
It's got a 411 variant, 1700cc.
I had a complete engine rebuild. The bottom end was okay on it. It's got an Eagle Race cam. It's got dual 40 Webers in it.
What kind of power does that give?
We haven't put on a dyno, so we're hoping about 110, something like that, 105, yeah.
So, it seems anything goes. Of course, if motors are your thing, then there's plenty to drool over here. Chrome showpieces, reflecting many hours polishing, to out-and-out race lumps. The Bug Jam weekend is a show, but when all's said and done, racing dominates the proceedings. Whether homespun or pro, anyone can have a go. Big names taking part were Terry's Beetle Service, Auto Cavan, Mr. Beetle John Marler, and Wagon Master. We spoke to Bernie Smith of Wagon Master about his racing.
I've been involved with Volkswagen between 15 and 18 years.
How did your involvement start? Strictly as a repair service or through racing?
Just the maintenance and servicing of VWs.
How long have you been racing?
I came down to Santa Pod 20 years ago this year.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I started racing actually in 73.
How long has Humboldt been racing?
This car, 4 years.
And what's your best time?
The best time, 1176, best terminal, 114 and a half.
So, what about the car itself?
The engine basically is a Volkswagen 4-cylinder engine. It's got a pair of Superflow cylinder heads, which are an American import. It runs on 48 RDA carburetors, 4-into-1 merged exhaust. Obviously the internals of the engine are all specialised, as are the components in the gearbox. They're all specialised, but it is a Volkswagen gearbox, basically. The car weighs about 14,500 pounds. It runs on slicks. The estimated horsepower about 200.
And what kind of cost?
I would imagine about the build from the ground up about 8,000.
Okay, well, Bernie Smith, good luck with your racing.
So now you know what it takes to get to the top. Lots of know-how, lots of money. Let's catch some racing action. And as for Bernie Smith, well, a very disappointing day. A broken half shaft putting him out of the competition. Bad luck, the Wagon Master team. Now, if you don't fancy drag racing, what about off-road? Looks loads of fun. But you must remember, don't get too close, like yours truly did. Thank God for an alert friend who pulled me out the way just in time. So, after a quick change of trousers, off to the show and shine, far less dangerous. This is the place where the top cars are shown in all their glory. Nothing is overlooked, inside or out. Let's take a look at this year's top cars as they run past for the crowds. And best of show, this amazing Black Beauty. The lucky owner seen here receiving his trophy from Keith Soon. After seeing the cars here, my clapped out Beetle is in for a shock. Just got to decide on a look. Restoration Now look. Baja or custard. It's quite a choice. Well, that's Bug Jam. A great weekend. See you next year.